Hi, I am Andres, a Microsoft Power Platform expert. My goal is to help you transform your business with the technology that I believe will give you the best value. And in this video, I will try to show you 4 ways to radically improve your Canvas app development. Now, these 4 techniques are going to help you with the maintenance and the performance of your Canvas applications. And these are groups versus containers. We will see how containers are a much better option than using groups to group different controls in your Canvas application. We're going to see how to build responsive Canvas applications using the capabilities that are going to enable your app to resize both in width and height so it adapts to the screen size of your users. Then we will see how to use the width formula, which is going to allow you to stop using unnecessary variables when you are patching, creating new records, relating records in Dataverse, etc. And last, we are going to use the navigate function with parameters to enable you to reuse screens and also use deep linking, which is, for example, when you click a link, it came from an email, for instance, and it will redirect you to the specific screen in the Canvas application that you want to show your user. Now, let's go. So let's take a look first to containers versus groups, groups versus containers. Here we have a group, here we have a container, and we are displaying the same information. Now, you'll see that the first thing that we can see here is that groups don't have they don't have their own properties. These are properties that are common to the children components that we have inside of the group. Instead, with containers, these are actual properties that pertain to the container. To see that in action, let's see, for example, when we toggle this control, which controls the visibility. Here we see that in the group, apparently the whole group is visibility is controlled via this variable, and the same happens with this container, right? So now let's, for example, add a new control. Okay, so I'm going to Control C, and here Control V. We see that this label cannot be placed outside the boundaries of this container. And then same, we will try to do the same with this group. Control V, oops, what happened? It doesn't get included inside of the, let's say, the boundaries of this group. What we need to do is select everything and group again with Control G. Now, let's toggle the visibility, and we clearly see what's happening. So here, the visibility is controlled via this property, and the whole visibility of the control is taking place. So if I add more labels here or whatever, they are going to turn unvisible when I turn off this toggle. Instead, here we are seeing that this label has the visibility property to true, while the other controls have this set to this local variable. So clearly we can see that the group is far less superior than the container. And then we'll see also that, yeah, Control C, Control V cannot be used with these groups, right? Also, bear in mind, if here we can say add to container, and this is going to create a container for this group, it means something, right? So the actual best practices try to point us into the direction of using containers instead of groups. Another cool thing that allows us to do with containers, we can create custom buttons. Let's make this visible. Here we have a button that is made out of an icon and a label because we want the user to be able to click the whole area, this whole area, while maintaining this layout. Could be anything, an image with a label, whatever you can imagine. Now, if we play this, we see that this mimics the behavior of a button because we have here the button as the first thing in the set scale, right, in the set index. And here what we are doing is making it transparent, but enabling with the press and hover properties here with these colors to resemble, to mimic the behavior of as if this whole thing, this whole container was a button. And the way to do this here, if we wanted to perform any action, we would click into the onSelect event of this button and say, yeah, notify hello, for example. Right, so any place we click, this is going to display this and notify this new message here. In this example screen, I'm going to show you different tips to create responsive designs, which are very useful when we want the contents of a screen to adapt to different screen sizes. For example, here we have different table layouts, different iPads, Samsung Galaxies, and different phones also. This is an horizontal, let's say this is flipped horizontally, but you'll see that everything is scaling horizontally and vertically according to the proportions that are defined in the screen and independently from the user's device. So how is this configured? We have here a root container, which is going to be the parent width and parent height. This is the same size as the parent, which is the screen. So it's going to fill the whole screen. Now inside of it, you'll see that there are different icons here, right? These tell us that this is a vertical container and this is a horizontal container. This means that the children, so the things, containers, labels, buttons, anything that we put inside this container that it's selected is going to stack vertically like this. And the opposite would be to stack them like this horizontally, right? So here we see that every one of these, let's say the children container of this root container fill different portions and grow depending on the height of the screen. This is achieved with this flexible height property. If it was a horizontal container, it would be flexible width. And here in the portions is where we configure how, well, the portions that this particular container has and how it's going to shrink uh, or get bigger, right? And here we are displaying 1, 10, and 1. And if you notice here, out of 12 is 1 out of 12 because this is summing, aggregating all the different portions. So if we change, for example, this to 4, we have 4 out of 15, right? And this is growing accordingly. Now, another cool thing is you see this space over here. This is called a gap, and gaps are configured in the parent container as well. And let's very visually how this changes. So to 5 pixels, and this is going to stretch, and well, you can create very yeah, appealing looks using the gap property as well. I also wanted to show you a couple of tricks with galleries, how to use different approaches here. So here, for example, we have in this the container that is in the middle, this is a horizontal one, and we have here 2 more containers. And here, this one is 6 out of 10. We can change it. This is going to be 4 out of 4 because this one is 4. And we can change the different, as we saw before, the different portions so that it grows or shrinks accordingly. Now, inside this container, we have a gallery that is displaying like in a table fashion different accounts. Now we have here actually the gallery, right? And this container holds the different headers of the gallery. Now, you see that this is appealing, mimicking the look and feel of a table, and we achieve this using containers as well. Inside the gallery, we can put containers too, so that we can have here the same portions as we have here in the header. Includes these rectangles that are just a means of visually separating the different labels, the different headers. And then here we are using the gap as well. And it needs to be the same gap here that we have in this container inside so that it appears to the user like you have built a table. But in the end, in reality, this is just a gallery and a container on top that it's, mimicking the look and feel of a table. Finally, let me show you a trick I use for the selection of the different rows. You see that this is changing, and the background of each row is changed to gray because we have this here a rectangle. So we have in each gallery row has a container and this rectangle over here. This rectangle, it's gray and it's visible depending on the selection, if this row is selected or not, so that we are showing the user that he or she has selected this row. Now, I think you will encounter when you build such containers, horizontal containers, to display the information, is that you cannot here say select parent, as is the usual thing in galleries, because the parent of this label is not the gallery, but the container. Now, what we do then is here, this rectangle is going to do the select parent to select the gallery based on this record, this item over here. And all these labels or components that we place here are going to select the rectangle, right? So like this, right? We're selecting the rectangle over here so that when the user clicks any item here in this horizontal container, it's going to mimic the selection of this rectangle and then thus select the gallery. And for example, here we would, for example, notify, let's show the account name of the selected row. Then we can click here in any place, select, yeah, Acme Corporation or Globex or Initech, and this is going to be the rectangle, selecting the gallery, and then in the unselect of the gallery, sending this notify. Now let's talk about the with function, which comes very handy when we are performing operations based on a creation of a new row. This is here. Let's take a quick glimpse here in this section, the with section. Here you will see what this is all about. So before diving into it, let's talk about the information that we have on the screen. So here we have accounts, the account entity or table. It's a part of the common data model. Common data model is the set of tables that comes, let's say, like a standard, already comes with the Dataverse environment. Any Dataverse environment that you have access to, you will have a set of tables. An account is the most famous one because not only is the first one, but also represents a very valuable resource, which is a customer. And here we have also notes, right? So here we have different accounts. These are the fields of each account. And here we have a one-to-one relationship displayed by these nodes. So an account can have different nodes. Let's try to imagine a useful use case, which is, for example, a salesperson that's going to visit a customer, and then he or she is going to add some notes on the outcome of the visit to the customer. Let's, as an example, change the values over here. Standard account number 123 123, some changes, why not? And here let's say, okay, the visit went great, and let's update and add this new node. We can see that everything changed here, and let's see what happened to the node because I didn't create any layer to display that here. So for that, we are going to our solution. We click into the account table, and here you click into edit a new tab. And here we are going to jump to a new tab where we see the different rows that we have access to right now. And if we here click into the add row, edit row using form, we are accessing the form, the information in this case, form that is pre-configured for us for the account table. And here for Acme Corporation, let me refresh. Here, okay, great. This is the new account number. And if we navigate to the Notes and Activities tab here in this form, Great. We see that this is the new node that we added. So let's see what happened here in one step because, well, of course, we have this and the showing of this spinner. This is a modern control that comes very handy to display, that showcase the user that we are loading, that we are working, don't don't move. And here we have in the visible property this local variable, context variable, that is set here before and after any operations that we perform, right? This way, while the operations are being performed, the user has the feedback that we are doing something. Now, of course, well, this is very easy to understand. We are updating in the accounts table the account with the identifier, the GUID that we have here. This is this text input. So this GUID that is the selection from the gallery. And here now comes the important part. Let's dive into the width section here. So normally what I see developers doing, some developers doing, of course, is that they store the patch of the new node in this case into a variable using the set function, right? They use set, and what they do is use this new variable to do the relate. And while there is nothing wrong with that, really, well, it's better to use the with function. Why? Because here we are creating a context, and this new node that is being created, it's stored in this variable over here, the aux node, that's only is going to live in this particular context over here. So outside these lines, in this on select formula or in another part of the screen or other screens, this aux new node is doesn't exist, cannot be accessed. And this comes very handy because then here in the next lines, what we can do inside the with is use this new node that we have created to enforce the relationship between the selected account into this one to n relationship. Now, why this is very important? Because we don't want our future self to see variables and pollute our app with global variables or context variables that we well are not useful, more useful than just to like an auxiliary thing because we are doing the creation or relationship enforcement here. So if we use with, we are limiting the number of variables that we are using and stop polluting our applications and making everything more readable once you, of course, get familiar with this syntax. Last but not least, let's see how to use the navigate function with parameters. Let's see an example here. I'm going to click into this icon and it's going to navigate to this particular screen, passing this context as a parameter. So this is the ID of the selected row, selected account, and this is going to pass this context just as if we had done an update context to the new screen. So the variable with this name, with this value, is going to be available right when we go to, to this new screen. Let's navigate here. And we are seeing here a form, a very simple form, where we are showing the item that has this account GUID that we are passing as a parameter from the previous screen. And we can show it here, right? This account GUID. Now, if we change, of course, it was Acme. Now let's go to Globex. And here, of course, it has changed. Now, this comes very handy, of course, if we think about reusing the same screen and displaying forms or any other information using context, using values that are passed from a previous screen. But also, this concept can be used for a very useful case, which is deep linking. So deep linking is a very easy to understand concept. Let's take a Wikipedia article. We have a Wikipedia article that we want to share to a colleague, and what we do is copy the URL from the browser and send it to our colleague over Microsoft Teams, of course. And the our colleague is going to click the article and is going to navigate directly to the article. He's not going to go first to Wikipedia and then in Wikipedia search for the article and then click into the article link and access the article. We don't want all those steps, and the same happens with Canvas applications. We can create URLs, create links that we send the user, for example, via email or Teams notification after a certain action happens. And the user, when clicks into that link, he or she is going to navigate directly to the particular screen with the particular data that we wanted, instead of making the user navigate through all the different screens and data and actions in the bigger application. So this is going to come very handy for these particular scenarios. Let's see how this works. So let's see this in action first. We go to our solution, select the application, click into details, and this is the link to our application. Copy, open a new screen, paste, and here we go. We go to navigate to the, let's say, the default screen that is configured for this application, right? So the default thing is land into this particular screen. Now, if we navigate, well, we're having the same behavior as before, Globex, Acme, etc. Great, but what if we want the user to navigate directly to the account form here? Well, what we can do is to this link add different parameters. So let's copy the link here, right? And I have already prepared these parameters over here, and let's see what they are all about. So here we are passing new parameters, start screen with this value, navigate with params. This is the name of our screen, and then account GUID with the ID of our account. Okay, whoops. Okay, so if we copy and paste this in a new tab, hit enter, and we should navigate exactly to the particular screen with this data preloaded. Now let's see how this is configured. So first of all, in the app here, we can configure the on start and start screen attributes here, our properties. And here in the start screen, we tell the app which screen needs to be opened when the user accesses the app. And here I'm using a switch statement. So depending on the value of the start screen parameter that we are passing through this URL, right? If the value is navigate with params, send the user to the navigate with params screen. And if no case is fulfilled, for example, because we haven't supplied this value to the URL, or provided this value to the URL, we navigate to this default case, right? Why a switch and not an if? Of course, because maybe we want to say, well, case X and navigate to screen X, right? And well, using a switch is very easy to add or remove different cases. And here, just a tip, don't use spaces or any other character that the URL is going to decode and encode differently, because the URLs function a little differently than a normal text editor. Now, in the on start, just for showcasing purposes, we are setting this parameter into this global variable. Okay, so what we are seeing here is that the global variable is provided, and how are we setting these parameters? Okay, let's take a look here. In the invisible of this screen, yeah, we go here. In the invisible, we are checking if this param exists, because, for example, when we navigate from this screen, we are not passing this parameter, of course. It's passed on the navigate. So what we are doing is, if we have this parameter on place, then update the context, set this local value is the same, just to maintain well, readability and make it easier for our future selves to understand what's happening. So set up the account GUI, the local context variable, to this parameter that's coming in the URL. And that's how you do it. Very simple, right? Thanks a lot for watching this long, and I hope I have provided you with good advice. Also, please let me know in the comments what is that you are going to use for your next development. I hope I've been helpful. Thank you very much.